What's up, New Jersey? Welcome back to another episode of the NJ1ST podcast. My name is Ryan McDonald. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video, and leave a comment. It'll help with the algorithm. You can find me over at Rumble, all social medias at Ryan McDonald USA and at NJ1ST. This video is going to go into Northeast New Jersey Republican politics, specifically Bergen County, right next to New York City. After all, it's Pride Month, and the media and Democrats are pushing and forcing LGBT politics down your throat by the spoonful. Here we have Republican New Jersey mayor was ousted from office by his own party for objecting to Pride flag being flown outside the town hall. Rochelle Park Mayor Perrin Mosca, council members from both parties, but mainly the Republicans, were furious over last week's his objections to flying the flag, the LGBT flag, because he said that it single-handedly put one group over another. It singled out one group over another. And because the Republican mayor of Rochelle Park, Mayor Perrin Mosca, stood up to the LGBT woke cult, he remains a committee man and is running for re-election this November, but he is no longer supported by the Rochelle Park GOP. Remarkable, isn't it? In Rochelle Park, the deputy mayor, who is the town's acting mayor now because they're getting rid of their Republican mayor. The Rochelle Park Council is supposed to choose his replacement within the next week and a half, which they're just going to have an election in November. So whoever they choose is just going to be in office for 6 months. Mosca teaches physics, chemistry, and forensic science at Lyndhurst High School and coaches the girls' basketball team. Yeah, it's not a lawyer or a lobbyist or, an entrenched politician. Sounds like just a dad.
The Republicans in Rochelle Park, and I shouldn't even say Republicans, just say the people, up there on the council, because if they can't differentiate themselves between this issue, which should be an issue that all Republicans support, I don't even know if I can call them Republicans. I just could call them politicians, and that's what they are.
Yeah, they're fake. They're liars. What's at the bottom of all of this? What's the real motivation behind all of this?
For me personally, it was, I feel like they were doing this for political reasons. But you know what? I really don't want to talk about this whole issue. It happened. And, I personally want to talk about the truth. Really, what is the truth of this whole thing? Me personally, I talked about the flag and why I believe it shouldn't have been up there. But there's also really personal reasons for me why I did this. And, I have 6 kids. I have 1 kid on the way. My wife's actually about to have a baby, pretty much any day now. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. And for me personally, I'm doing this for my kids. That is my reason. I want to protect my children and the children of Rochelle Park.
Protect them from what specifically?
The way in New Jersey it's been going with schooling, where they're trying to indoctrinate our children with, this flag, what it represents, wants to indoctrinate our children. I don't feel like parents with young kids should have to explain to them why they need to talk about this issue with them. I really don't believe it. I don't think they're ready. They're too young. And all I want to do is protect these souls.
Oh, that's very commendable. And I feel the same way that you do. Your perspective is obviously interesting to me, and I value your opinion. I also respect the stand that you're taking. Are you going to rerun for city council?
I am rerunning for city council. After this whole issue, I really don't want to attack anyone. I want to bring people together. And, part of it's my fault for not teaching the other people up there how this issue really affects the world and our town and the entire state of New Jersey. And that's part of my problem. And, I'm going to do a better job of trying to teach my fellow.
Well, I don't think that it's about attacking them, but certainly exposing them for covering the truth, because anybody who can objectively look at what's happening in our country right now, specifically even in your little small town in New Jersey or small towns across America, cannot deny the fact that this transgender/homosexual movement has infiltrated every single level of our federal bureaucracy, at every level in our local governments, in our public schools, and that, yes, it is specifically targeting children. We have pornographic materials in the school libraries. We have teachers who aren't asking how your recess was, but asking what your preferred pronouns are and demanding that you call them by their they or them status. this has to be acknowledged. These people do need to be exposed. I don't call it attacking. I think actually it's the opposite. These people are attacking our children, and you are standing up for them.
Absolutely. It is an attack on our children. And like I said, I guess you don't think it's attacking. I just don't. I want to make peace with them, but I also want to teach them the truth. The truth that the Bible states. I really want to teach them the truth.
Yeah.
I have no.
I don't think that these people have any intention of bringing peace or aligning or listening or learning or objectively taking information. These people are ideologues who have an agenda. It's an agenda that is inspired by the enemy. The enemy is Satan, and I believe that they are his minions, and they are going to, at all cost, still continue the mission to attack our children. But I commend you. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I disagree with where your heart is on this. I'm just saying that I don't know that we can negotiate with the devil.
Well, Stu, this is a small town. It's a pretty close-knit town. There's not much, of the outside influence. I mean, these people were, swayed by this a little bit. But I feel like I can get them to, really see what the truth is in this whole situation.
They watch the Fox News channel, or they watch CNN or MSNBC. They see all the celebrations going up and down the streets of New York and New Jersey, Weehawken, all these different areas, Hoboken, all of the gay pride nonsense that's happening out there. And so there may be some outside influence just via programming that they're not even aware of. But in your small community that you say is tight-knit, I hope that you have garnered the support of your constituents. I hope that those 5,000 some odd people in your town will actually stand behind you, and that they will realize that we need to protect our children. It's our one ultimate duty, and we need to pick up the sword and fight. And so for your efforts, we appreciate it. And thank you so much for being here, Karen. We're behind you 100%.
Okay, yeah. And then, I just want to say, listen, I'm grateful for this platform. I'm grateful for the chance to spread the truth. My reasoning, my personal held belief is we definitely have to save these children because they're being attacked from all over, and it is pure evil.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And there really is no better picture to sum it all up with Jose Arango, the chair of chairs from Hudson County. But this picture is him over in Rochelle Park with Bergen County. And why am I picturing Jose Arango here with Rosemary Becky? It's because Jose Arango was someone in 2019 who pooled his endorsement of a Republican sheriff candidate because she, a black woman, was against a whole month of pride, against a whole month of the LGBT indoctrination of our youth. And Jose Arango was not going to allow that bigotry, that extremism of Republican politics to gain any traction in the NJGOP. So he completely put a rest to that, and guess what? He endorsed a Democrat. Lastly, the New Jersey Senate Democrats voted to block a Republican bill. Senate Bill 2483 was the Parental Bill of Rights Act, which provides parents the right to engage in and have input in their children's education. So this bill was tabled by Democrats. They're not even going to come up for a debate or discussion. And it's really unfortunate, but there was a live stream regarding vax mandates and this parental rights with Holly Shapizi and Jersey First Rosemary Becky. And I have that recorded. I'm going to show it to you. And I don't know if the question would have been asked that I had from a Westwood, Bergen County, that's Holly Shapizi's constituents. They're coming to me and wanting me to ask Holly Shapizi this question because she's not answering it. She's not showing up, but she did a great job in answering. Just watch.
Senator Shapizi, we have a number of Westwood parents that are with us, and they are asking you, one, if you're aware of what's happening in Westwood, but also wondering your thoughts on it and how you might be able to help them and support them.
Yes, so I've actually been following everything going on in Westwood. And the one thing that's so fascinating to me is, Westwood has put forth policy based upon law, has put forth policy based upon, what parents have indicated they want. Right now there's a whole controversy over the flag, and The US Supreme Court ruled on this a year ago unanimously based upon a case involving the city of Boston. And, essentially it's, the Westwood Board of Ed took a position based upon legal feedback, based upon what's going on, that we are not going to fly any flags other than pretty much the American and the state of New Jersey flag. Now you have the Bergen County Education Association involved, saying that they are discriminating against students. They are packing the meetings. They're trying to get the ACLU there. They're coming in red shirts and there were screaming matches at the Board of Ed meeting last week with parents and substitute teachers calling the board members effing pieces of what and screaming out. And it's not an example for any of our children. And I find it really fascinating because here you have a board that is attempting to just be transparent and have parents engaged in curriculum questions and have total transparency and opt-out provisions for parents who may not feel comfortable with their child in 7th grade mandatorily being taught how to get medical treatment or have an abortion or get treated for HIV or STDs without their parents even having knowledge of it and where to do so, and allowing parents to be able to make the decisions as to whether or not they want their children to participate in it. I think it's just turned into kind of a political show with this small group of very vocal parents who, if they don't get 100% of what they want, somehow, some way the board is comprised of a whole bunch of bad people. And they're not. They're being thoughtful about policy and attempting to be able to put forth what makes sense for all the children in their school district.
Yeah. This kind of, to me, brings up a broader topic on parental rights. And I feel like not only in New Jersey, but in other parts of this country, the pendulum has swung and somehow parents are the enemy, right? Or parents, and I always, in fact, I did it with one of my children and I said to an educator, I'm not the enemy here. I am the advocate for my child and I'm looking out for their best interests. And it seems like there's this movement to not include parents in the decision making. And I would love for you to just speak more broadly about how do we turn around this sentiment and beyond voting, like what else should we be doing to change this sentiment and bring back parents into this equation? I mean, I always think of it as a triangle, right? You've got the child, you've got the educator, and then you have the parent, and we should all be talking to each other.
I agree. And I mean, right now you're seeing the state of New Jersey use its full power through the Attorney General's office to attack school boards. And there was a lawsuit filed this morning by the New Jersey Attorney General against the 3 Monmouth schools that decided to implement new policy. The governor has come out saying that he views it as a personal assault and an attack. And essentially what the school boards did in these 3 Monmouth County districts is they passed a policy that on second read, when school resumes in September, that teachers would be required to notify parents if their child wants to publicly be known by a different name or pronoun, is using a different bathroom or locker room than their gender at birth, and if their child seeks to play on a different sports team. Now, it exempts situations, if there is abuse, or if there's a concern for the child. And essentially, it's challenging what the governor's administration put forth and the New Jersey Department of Education, specifically saying that New Jersey school districts must accept a student's preferred gender identity and pronouns without notifying parents and without having parents involved whatsoever. Now, let's go to my 11-year-old. My 11-year-old has a lactose intolerance. I've got to sign every form under the sun for him to bring his over-the-counter Lactaid to school with him. We have to sign off on everything imaginable. And yet, parents, you could have conceivably a 7-year-old child that is using a different locker room with children up to 8th grade to get changed to go to gym, with the parent not even participating in that discussion. And I think, and it was really fascinating to me because there was a Q&A in NJ.com about 2 weeks ago with one of the most preeminent transgender psychologists who is transgender herself. And the Q&A was a discussion about policies such as this. And her view was that things have gone way too far and that parents have to be involved in these discussions, have to participate. And this is somebody who has spent her entire professional career counseling transgender children, transgender adults, and happens to be transgender herself. The UK and a lot of the progressive countries in Europe have actually started to backtrack on their own policies, having the benefit of more years of research about the implications of policies such as this, and are now reversing their own policies when it comes to adolescents and children. And I think that, particularly on sensitive topics like this, to put forth kind of this notion in children that their own parents are not to be trusted is really a detrimental policy that will have implications for decades to come.